Hi friends and new friends out there in Dash Nation. I'm Christopher Carruthers, also known as Tao of Satoshi, and you're watching Cash Alternative TV. Unless using some kind of centralized solution, using digital currency right now could be considered quite challenging to newcomers. Clunky interfaces, crazy long addresses, and the need to have a different wallet on each device lead many to simply not bother. It doesn't always have to be this way, however, as the evolution of the internet has shown us. One of the goals of Dash Digital Cash is to become a medium of exchange that's so easy to use that it could be easily introduced to your grandmother. User interfaces like PayPal or Venmo are the domain of fiat and centralized systems, but similar interfaces and user experiences are within reach for Dash consumers and merchants. The first step to implementing such systems into the Dash ecosystem is establishing a platform capable of bridging the gap between what the user sees and what goes on behind the scenes. At a recent presentation at the Dash Convention Europe, Dash developers Dana Alibrandi and Ivan Shumkov unveiled the latest in the Dash platform's development. They outlined the concepts behind it and how everything is designed to work under the hood. In this video, I will outline what exactly is Dash Platform, what goes on behind the scenes, and how Dash's unique network structure is helping to develop and give people access to it. So, let's get started. Building decentralized applications to work with Dash's network and blockchain is the goal to give people more ways to securely and easily use Dash. Dash Platform is the way to build them. It provides a blockchain-based technology stack and runs on Dash's collateralized and incentivized second-tier masternode network. Dash core developer Dana Alibrandi goes into more detail here.
So right now our value proposition, similar to other Dash core group initiatives, we're really focused on usability and ease of use, which is one of the reasons why we're heavily promoting JavaScript as our first language. And eventually we will port our libraries into other languages like Python and .NET and PHP as well. What is Dash Platform? So I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of things, especially in context of evolution. And basically it's a development platform that allows third-party developers, businesses to build applications that leverage the Dash network in various ways. So the broader vision is that we're developing a technology stack, so providing things like authentication, data storage, and basically anything that a developer would need to create a decentralized application.
To achieve this goal, several aspects are needed, which will be described in further detail later on. Let's start with user identities. Dash's usernames will be facilitated through its decentralized name service. Dana explains.
We're also providing human-readable usernames, also known as blockchain users. You'll be able to have a human-readable username that is associated with an identity. The identity will be stored on the sidechain, and the username will be stored in what we're referring to as Dash Platform Name Service. So it's very similar to DNS or ENS, which is Ethereum's name service. So it will resolve an identity into a human-readable username.
Dash Platform isn't going to be just usernames, though. It appears as the scope of identities has been broadened to include all kinds of different things, such as applications and third-party entities. Dash developer Ivan Shumkov explains this in more detail.
We rework it a bit and make it more unified. We decoupled names from identities. So previously it was like basically public key and name. So now identity is just public key, ID associated with it. Unique identities for any entities and platform like applications, users, and also third-party entities for the developers. Yeah, and it's actually its foundation for decentralized identities.
Another aspect of Dash Platform that you may be familiar with is decentralized storage, formerly known as Dash Drive. The storage of the platform data will be hosted on the masternode network. Dana explains decentralized storage and why it's important in this next clip.
A couple of other things that are really exciting are the ability to remove data silos. We have decentralized storage. This is formerly known as Drive, and the reason that we're not really using that term anymore is because we've broadened the scope of what Drive actually does. So your application data is replicated across all of the master nodes to ensure data redundancy. in the event that any masternode goes offline or crashes for whatever reason, your data will be safe and secure. So instead of having this honeypot where hackers might be incentivized to attack like a single point of user data, and there have been many news stories recently about this sort of thing happening, by storing your application data on the platform, you encrypt it, and it's secured by masternode quorum consensus, LLM queues, long-living masternode quorums. You are offloading the security of your data security to the Dash network in effect. So if you have multiple independent parties that all need access to the same data, storing that data on Dash platform is a really convenient way to secure it while also providing access to all of the relevant parties. So some use cases in that regard could be supply chain management or maybe even healthcare records.
Sounds good. Decentralize all the things. A big priority for Dash, of course, is making its processes easier to use. To that end, for the Dash platform, they are introducing a Decentralized API, or DAPI for short. Dana explains more about that here.
DAPI, our Decentralized API. A DAPI instance will live on every single masternode so that you can potentially connect to different masternodes to access Dash platform while still having the same experience across your applications. It's a more resilient model compared to the typical client-server model where you connect to one server, maybe that server goes down for various reasons, and then you're unable to access the application. With DAPI, you won't have that problem. Your application and your data will always be available.
DAPI gives users access to the main Dash blockchain and a new sidechain that we will get into later. DAPI serves to fill the gap behind the blockchain functions behind the scenes and user functions that will appear similar to those we're familiar with in centralized applications. Ivan describes it here.
So it's basically a decentralized HTTP API, and you can access layer 1 and layer 2 data through this API. The main idea is that you don't need to have deal with peer-to-peer messages, all this stuff, and like as mid-level developer, not crypto developer, you can just interact with API, which is like basic thing, right?
Okay, so far we have decentralized storage, the ability to identify ourselves, and a means to access the system. Now we need content. How is the Dash platform going to handle this information that will be stored to run applications? Dana's glad you asked.
You'll be able to define your data structures through what's referred to as a data contract. A data contract is probably going to be the first point of interaction between any third-party organization and Dash platform. It is an agreement between the data that you want to share between your application and Dash platform. It's very similar to a database schema, if anyone is familiar with that. It's like a blueprint of what your data will look like and how you want it to be validated by the network. You'll be able to access your application data at any point in time, so that provides for very interesting auditability use cases. So if I wanted to see what my application looked yesterday, I could type that in and retrieve that data and have that historical record of changes.
Okay, so an app developer can use a data contract to establish an application on Dash platform. Now we're getting somewhere. How will this new information be secured from behind the scenes?
Our application state, our application data is going to be secured via a side chain that lives alongside the main Dash blockchain now. That side chain we're referring to as the platform chain. Platform chain?
That's new. Previously, the security of the platform was going to be the responsibility of the main Dash blockchain. Why is this no longer the case? To understand that a little bit more, it will help to understand how communication and changes will occur on the platform. Developers and users, through the DAPI, access their data contracts and make changes via special blockchain transactions.
Your data is submitted to Dash Drive in the form of a state transition.
As you can see, a big part of Dash platform is the blockchain transactions that lead to information changes in platform apps.
State transitions, it's actually transactions. You have a state 0, you want to update your application state, and you want to create like several documents. Okay, so you create documents, put them in the state transitions, which describe how you want to change one data into another, like into another state. So and send the state transitions to the DAPI. For you to just will be like put document, like get document, something like that.
These transactions, called state transitions, need to be accepted in a timely, efficient, and inexpensive way to give users the best possible experience. Ivan describes some drawbacks to the main Dash blockchain in this next clip.
Previously, we were thinking to store platform state transitions on a layer 1 chain, like payment chain, but it's not really good idea because it's pretty expensive. We need to propagate all this data among the whole network, not just masternodes. We can do deterministic fees, so you need to pay like fees for layer 2, for platform, for storage, for masternodes, and also layer 1 fees for miners. We decided to move all state transitions from layer 1 to layer 2 and introduce a new chain. We call it platform chain. Platform chain, I think it's kind of shift of paradigm. It's not like a blockchain-based thing, blockchain-centric thing. Why we are using blockchain here is only for state replication and consensus. So we care more about state, not about blockchain anymore. We are not communicating with layer 1. We don't need to pay fees for miners. So now it's just layer 2 completely fees, which are based on data size and like complexity of operations.
So once you understand how Dash platform is going to work under the hood, you can see why having processes on the main Dash blockchain becomes problematic. The way proof of work functions is the issue in most cases. Blockchain mining, while doing a great job securing a blockchain, has several drawbacks in platform's use case. Block times on the Dash blockchain can vary wildly, leading to potential delays for state transitions. Also, miners can sometimes decline to accept transactions into a block, keeping them in the memory pool. This would mean that any omitted state transitions would have to wait until a miner decides to include it, delaying the desired information change in the application. Propagation is an issue as well, as state transitions would need to be broadcast to the entire Dash network. Finally, as Ivan alluded to, fees in this setup would be subject to market conditions at the time, leading to variable fees for the end user as well. Having these state transitions on platform chains solves these issues. A chain managed solely by the masternode network would lead to stable fees, state transitions accepted and performed in a timely manner, and excellent propagation. This would lead to a smooth, responsive experience for the users on the other side of the DAPI. Usage of a sidechain leads to questions though. How will security be ensured if there are no miners? Ivan partly explains here.
We have a proof of service for layer 2 for the platform. We monitor Byzantine behavior, masternode behavior, and we have some scoring system for not participating or like for Byzantine behavior, double signing or something like that. We just increase the scores, and then the scores reach the threshold, the limit. We ban these masternodes, like in a layer 1 proof of service.
So security will be achieved through proof of service. I still have many more questions, and I'm sure you may have as well. I'll be talking with the developers in the next episode of Cash Alternative TV, and I will be sure to dive into this new system in more detail. Watch for that if you are also interested in learning more. So to sum up the Dash platform, all interactions are done through the Decentralized API. Potential developers establish a data contract to set up an application, which is placed in decentralized storage hosted by the masternode network. These developers and users of the application use the DAPI to input information and make changes. These inputs and changes go through the DAPI and turn into state transition transactions. These state transition transactions are then confirmed by the masternode network, entered into platform chain, and new information is stored. I'm sure there are still some kinks to iron out, but I can't wait to see it in action. Will there be a way for developers, businesses, and users to try out all of this new tech coming soon? Dana fills us in.
Dash Core Group is going to be providing a public testing environment that we have affectionately named EvoNet, and you'll be able to experiment with different Dash platform features on this. We will be adding more features to this testing environment as we finish developing them. So it's going to be very iterative and experimental. In addition, we have a dedicated team within Dash Core Group currently working on documentation. So we're building a developer portal that provides information on key topics such as onboarding, how to handle the chicken and egg problem where you want a user to onboard into your application and they might not have Dash. So how do we get them onboarded? And Ivan mentioned that very briefly with the invitation process. So we'll have topic guides on things like that. We'll have an API Explorer, and then we'll also have guides on how you can test this locally and deploy your own DevNet with the platform on it if you're interested in playing around with it. And we also have an open invitation to anyone that is interested in being a launch partner. So we've been communicating with different third-party organizations, some of which are interested in being ecosystem collaborators. So those are people building tools to assist in deployment, people that are interested in building new client libraries, things like that. And we also have companies that are trying to transition some of their use cases and some of their business needs onto the platform.
Great. That was my overview of the Dash platform. I hope you enjoyed it. Please watch the next CITV where I sit down with the Dash developers and go into more detail about key aspects of the Dash platform. Hope to see you there. Well, that's it for me today. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and smash the bell if you want to see more from me in Cash Alternative TV episodes. Until next time, remember, Dash is a digital alternative to cash, and becoming more so every day. Bye for now.
Cash Alternative.